Integers. Today we're going to locate positive and negative rational numbers on a number line and understand the concept of opposites. And we're going to demonstrate an understanding of the relationship between the absolute value of a rational number and the distance on the number line. And we're going to learn what the absolute value symbol is. So let's draw our line down over paper, but I want you to put a circle in the middle, a small one. The first kind of numbers that your parents were so excited when you learned how to count was like to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are all called counting numbers. Counting numbers are sometimes also called rational numbers. So numbers like, lost my card, there we go. 1, 2, and so on. Then we added one more number in there, and that was the whole numbers. That's adding the number 0 into it. So once you add the number 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you now have whole numbers. Then along came the integers. Integers now are your negative numbers. So negative 1, negative 2, and 0, and 1, 2, 3. So that's why we're drawing these circles, because it includes everything inside of it. So integers are your positives, your negatives, and 0. Then we have the last one, which is a rational number. Rational numbers would be all the numbers we've been learning this year. Decimals, fractions, all of those would be your rational numbers. And including in those would then be the integers, the whole numbers, counting numbers. So it's everything inside of that is your rational numbers. Now something you'll learn more about next year are these numbers that sit outside here. They are non-rational numbers. They're called irrational. So it's when things like when you have a fraction to turn into a decimal and it terminates, like 0.375, that's a rational number. Or for repeats, like 0.11111, that's rational. But there's numbers out there that are irrational that never repeat or never terminate. Those are called irrational. Pi is an example of an irrational number because it goes on forever. So now that we know where these integers fall within the number system, we're going to take a look at some. So in the real world, where do we find our negative numbers? So one place is in temperature. So I just want you to write in your notebook these highlighted words. Another would be sea level. 0 would be sea level. When you go up in the mountains, you're going positive. When you're going down below sea level, you're going in your negatives. Debt is another place. It says, let's say your parents bought a car but had to get a loan from the bank for $5,000. When counting all their money, they have to add in a negative $5,000 to show what they still owe the bank. So I want you to draw this in your notebook. So just draw a number line, 0, 1, 2, 3 this way, negative 1, 2, 3 that way. Negatives go to your left, positive go to your right. Stop the video if you need to at any time to get this drawn in. So numbers to the left of 0 are less than 0. Numbers to the right of 0 are more than 0. So then the question becomes, what is 0? Oops, didn't go away. 0 is neither negative nor positive. So when you think of this, going to the right you get bigger. So negative 1 is bigger than a negative 2. 0 is bigger than a negative 1. When you go to the left, you're getting smaller numbers. So negative 3 is smaller than a negative 2. So let's get some vocabulary words. Opposite and integer. Opposite. Two numbers that are the same distance on a number line in opposite directions. So it's just like if I said the opposite of up, you'd say down. The opposite of a negative 1 is 1 because they're the same distance apart from 0. Integers are whole numbers, they're opposites, and zeros. A very quick way to put this is just your positives, your negatives, and 0 is what it is. So let's look at a couple examples. If I'm 32 feet underground, I'm at a negative 32. 8 weeks after birth would be a positive 8 or just 8. A loss of 6 pounds, a negative 6. So I want you to stop the video and write an integer for each situation. Turn it back on to see if you were correct. A loss of 12 yards would be a negative 12. 15 feet above sea level would be 15 or plus 15. The temperature decreased by 4 degrees would be a negative 4. Last part, absolute value. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. So this is the absolute value sign, like 2 little goalposts on the sides. So if you take a look at the number line, 0, and we want to go 5. 5 is 5 units away from 0, so the absolute value of 5 is 5. So let's do a couple examples. So write down in your notebook absolute value of a negative 3. So you go up and find negative 3 is here, and I'm 1, 2, 3 from 0. So the absolute value of a negative 3 is 3. 7. Well, 7 would be over here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units away from 0, so the absolute value of 7 is 7. Now this one's a little bit tricky in the fact that the negative sign's on the outside, so we just bring it over. And now we say the absolute value of 4. Well, 4 is here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 units from it. So negative absolute value of 4 is a negative 4. So here's your assignment today. It's on Schoology if you need to see the textbook.